It's looking like Terence Crawford could have his next opponent in line, Egidijus Kavaliauskas. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also, subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang notification gang, please hit the bell icon. So, Mike Coppinger, he reported that Terence Crawford could see his next opponent. It says, sources tell The Athletic Box Terence Crawford is likely to defend his title versus Egidijus Kavaliauskas, aka Mean Machine, this fall. Bob Arum conceded WBO is likely to order that fight unless he could complete a deal with Spence versus Crawford. With Spence fighting Shawn Porter, expect Crawford Kavaliauskas. Want to give my thoughts on this. Now, this is not shocking. This is not news. I know some of you guys are at home scratching your head like, who is Egidijus Kavaliauskas? You know, I've seen him fight. I actually know someone personally who fought him. And, you know, it is what it is. Terence Crawford needs to stay active. Bob Arum mentioned this much. He mentioned that he wanted to make the Errol Spence Jr. fight next, and Al Heyman was blocking it, and these different types of things. But I've called this new media. If you follow the channel, this is nothing new. I think ultimately Bob Arum realized and knew that Terence Crawford wasn't going to fight Errol Spence. So, you know, being true promoter, he put his promoter hat on and, you know, took a stab at it like he was really trying to make the fight, and he really thought it was happening and it's going to happen, because he knew Terence Crawford would be fighting someone like Mean Machine Egidijus, I'm not sure how to pronounce his name, Kavaliauskas. You know, so I'm not really surprised here. I know after you've been in boxing for so long, you see the different games, you see, you know, the promoter tricks and stuff like that. Errol Spence Jr., Al Heyman, they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. I've went over this. I predicted this whole scenario. The bottom line is Errol Spence, he's looking like a superstar. Terence Crawford, very talented. However, the big difference is Errol Spence, his side, who he is aligned with on the business side, have all the major players in his division, so he could, you know, make his name and become household name status, and ultimately show the world how good he is with bigger blockbuster fights and keep moving forward with his career. However, Top Rank, it has been a long time since they had a stacked staple of welterweights. Manny Pacquiao left, you know, Mike Alvarado just, you know, was knocked out. Brandon Rios, Jesse Vargas left. You know, Jesse Vargas on DAZN. I think he's competing at 154 or something now. You know, Tim Bradley retired. Top Rank simply doesn't have anybody in-house to match Terence Crawford with that makes him become a household name. And I forecasted this, I predicted this, and I projected this on my channel. This was going to be the issue. The world knows Terence Crawford is a dog. The world knows Terence Crawford is a good fighter. But his first fight at welterweight, he fought Jeff Horn, a champion who beat Pacquiao. He beat him easily. I was at the fight. Then he beats Jose Benavidez, an undefeated champion who, you know, was bigger than him. They had bad blood. They did a good job selling the fight. Terence Crawford does what he does, and then he ends up stopping Benavidez in the final round. So this is where it starts to go downhill, because the world knows Crawford is good, but he does not have the compelling names unless he works with another promoter or switches weight class or some shit, you know, drops down and fights Regis Prograis or Josh Taylor or something. And usually you don't see fighters regress, and if they move up for a purpose, and it's not safe body-wise, you know, health-wise, to fluctuate your weight and go back down as you get older. So I knew this was coming. This is the paradox or the conundrum that Terence Crawford is in. He's a damn good fighter, pound for pound, you know, rated skills, pound for pound number one in a lot of people's mind. He does not have the names in-house that make him a star. You know, that's just simply put. Egidijus Kavaliauskas, he has some power, but I've seen some performances where he didn't really look that great. Nor has he fought anyone the level of Terence Crawford. Nor has he, with his brand, built this empire where he's a known commodity. So that's why they would also have to put that fight in Omaha, you know, where Terence Crawford is from, because that's his best chance. You know, it's just you get Nebraska to come out. You know, I've been to Nebraska. It's not too much to do. So you go out and support the hometown hero. You get what I'm saying? So other regions, like you put that Madison Square Garden, Las Vegas, I don't know what the ticket sales would do. So this is why the fight would be in Omaha. You know what I'm saying? So you could just get, like I said, there's not a ton of different things going out. So people will come out to when Crawford fights at home. But ultimately, I don't think this is going to do him any favors. I think there's other fights that would be really good, even outside of Errol Spence, like Mikey Garcia, Terence Crawford, Danny Garcia versus Terence Crawford. He has experience with those guys from the amateurs. He beat Mikey Garcia in the amateurs. He beat Danny Garcia in the amateurs, and Danny Garcia also holds a win over him. So I don't know what it is with Bob Arum. It's like he's, you know, in the past said that Terence Crawford needs to fight against Errol Spence, and he's not bothered, or he doesn't want to worry about the other guys. But the other guys would be bigger events, even outside of Errol Spence. And like I said, how can anybody fault Al Heyman and Errol Spence or Shawn Porter for them fighting each other? It doesn't make sense. The fact of the matter is, despite how dope and skillful Terence Crawford is, he has 3 some odd fights, 2.5, because Amir Khan kind of quit, you know, and it kind of robbed the fans of a traditional ending. And he's the newbie in the division, despite where you rate his skills. That's the fact. Errol Spence is fighting Shawn Porter, who's been fighting at welterweight. So naturally, he's fought the better names at welterweight: Keith Thurman, Kell Brook, Danny Garcia, Adrian Granados, Andre Berto. You know, it's no question. There's no question that Shawn Porter, he fought Adrian Broner, you know, at 144, 145. So you can't knock a unification, like I've told you guys, between Errol Spence Jr. and Shawn Porter, who has a better welterweight resume, who has an amateur pedigree, who fought at 165 as an amateur, beat guys like Usyk. You know, I think he beat Demetrius Andrade, and, you know, he's an accomplished fighter, you know, and even as a pro, he's fought the bigger names in that division. So they're both unification fights, despite how much you personally want to see Terence Crawford versus Errol Spence. We all do. But one's easy to facilitate. You keep it in-house, and it's a meaningful unification against 2 credible welterweights. End of story. So, you know, unfortunately for Terence Crawford, he's aligned with Top Rank, and they just simply don't have the people for him. They don't have the people that make him a ready-made name and build colossal events. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's going to be stuff like this unless he can get one of them PBC fights. And I think the game plan is what I've been telling you guys on the channel, is that they want to build their guys. That's their first priority. So they want to build them into household names. And they know one of them is going to have to fight Terence Crawford, or a few of them or whatever, put them in the best financial position of authority and power, aka the A side, and nothing else could be said. And I think that's what they're doing with Errol Spence. There is no way Terence Crawford can be the A side if Errol Spence keeps winning, fighting Shawn Porter's in a unification, just sold out. Well, not sold out because it's a big ass venue, but just did almost 50,000 at the AT&T Stadium. I was there with Mikey Garcia, was on pay-per-view and did better than Crawford's pay-per-view numbers. You know, they said it did 375,000 for the Mikey Garcia fight. Terence Crawford versus Amir Khan, the numbers never even came out. Top Rank kept that exclusive and kept that hidden. But the reports suggested it was about 140, 150,000. And then you look at Crawford's other number. The other time he was on pay-per-view, HBO pay-per-view, he fought against Victor Postal. The numbers were reported at 50,000. So if you add Terence Crawford's, I'm not talking about fanboyism or favorites. I like both. I like Errol Spence and I like Terence Crawford. I'm simply talking the fact of the matter and what I see. And the bottom line is, if you add Terence Crawford's Victor Postal 50,000 plus another 150,000 with Amir Khan, his 2 pay-per-view outings, they did less than Errol Spence's first pay-per-view outing with Mikey Garcia, like by pretty much more than half. 150 times 2 is 300,000. And again, Errol Spence versus Mikey did 360, 375,000. So there's no way he could stay the A side in that equation, And then fighting Egidijus Kavaliauskas, maybe it's a good fight, I don't know. But from what I've seen, Egidijus Kavaliauskas doesn't really have nothing for Terence Crawford. I've seen some suspect performances. He has power, so I guess that's, one punch can change the outcome type attitude. But ultimately, I just think that Terence Crawford is in a position where, he's not going to be able to, when he fights Errol Spence, he's not going to be able to make the demands. It might even be 60-40 or something more severe. I don't know. We have to see what happens in the careers of both. But that's the latest. It looks like Crawford is probably going to fight Egidijus Kavaliauskas. Let me know what you guys think on the fight. Rate it 0 to 10. And what do you think? Do you think Terence Crawford should have signed to Top Rank? Do you think, he's just going to wait and get the Errol Spence fight? Drop your thoughts in the comment section. We work.
So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button. And you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxingego, the future of boxing.